I had a thought, and it came to me last night just as I was about to sleep. But what the thought was is, instead of continuing to live under the paradigm that we're currently living under, which is essentially hatred and anger and disinformation, delusionment, if you will, why don't we instead put our efforts into changing that paradigm? You say, well, David, how do we change the paradigm? I'm not exactly sure, but I have a thought. And again, just a thought. Instead of taking all of our emotions, which are mostly anger and hatred and frustration and all of those negative emotions, and living our lives from those, and think about it, at least for most of us, people that I've experienced and even myself, most conversations are filled with anger. Anger at what's going on around us. So instead of living from that anger and focusing on everything that we hate and are angry about and that we really and truly do not want, why don't we focus instead on what we do want? Focus our energies, pull that hate back. Hate just destroys us. Booker T. Washington said, I will allow no man to cause me to hate him. I will allow no man to contaminate my soul by causing me to hate him. Think about that. So why don't we stop hating? We can still be angry, but stop hating and stop living from the anger, and instead take a moment and pause and think. Close our eyes and think about in our hearts what it is we truly want, and focus on that. And focus on, how do I achieve that? So many times throughout the day, I will do that. I'll sit and just say, what is the life that I want? How do I achieve that? How do I help to bring that about? And you'll get answers. And start living from that. Start talking with other people. Be aware. Be cognizant of your words and your conversations. And instead of saying to people or talking to people or having conversations with people about, oh my God, look at what's going on. Let's have a conversation about, wow, look what's going on, but surely there are ways to change it. This country has been through turmoil before. I mean, my God, look at the Civil War. Before this country was formed, look at the Revolutionary War. If you look at the history of what really happened back during those two wars alone, it was just out of hatred and anger that was born out of frustration and fear. And that's where we're living. So let's change it. So if you have the desire, and if you have the courage, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but it takes courage to stand up against what's going on in any situation. And sometimes we just can't muster that courage because we get flack back. But if we can muster the courage and the will and the desire to change the paradigm, then we should. And again, it's just a thought.